A short bill comes in one area. Really. Different places.
Just little bodies and it's.
I wanted everybody to be able to hear me. I might not have told this, but maybe I'll. Probably. My voice isn't very strong today.
Yeah.
Well, the last time we were in this room, I didn't use the mic, but it was.
You were younger.
I was younger. Yeah. Yes, I was a month younger.
You can start whenever you're ready, Ms. Buehler. If you want to use the mic, just remember to hold it up to your mouth.
Okay, thank you, dear. Like this, is this okay?
Yeah.
You can hear how raspy my voice is. Well, as you know, I'm reading A Christmas Memory by Linda Capote. And the editor says about this, what could an orphan 7-year-old boy and a superstitious older woman and a coffee drinking terrier have in common? The Christmas spirit. Sharing in mischief, kindnesses, and adventure, the trio celebrates a lovely Christmas memory. Imagine a morning in late, a coming of winter more than 20 years ago. Consider the kitchen of a spreading old house in a country town. A great black stove is its main feature, but there is also a big round table and a fireplace with 2 rocking chairs placed in front. Just today, the fireplace commenced its seasonal. A woman with shorn white hair is standing at the kitchen window. She's wearing tennis shoes and a shapeless gray sweater over a summery calico dress. She's small and sprightly, like a bantam hen, but due to a long youthful illness, her shoulders are pitiful. Her face is remarkable, not unlike Lincoln's, craggy like that, and tinted by the sun and wind. It's delicate too, finely boned, and her eyes are sherry colored and empty. Oh my, she exclaims, her breath smoking the undertone. It's fruitcake weather. Here's where the problem comes. For the bake. The person to whom she is speaking is myself. I am 7. She is 60 something. We're cousins, very distant ones, and we have lived together, well, as long as I can remember. Other people inhabit the house, relatives, and though they have power over us and frequently make us cry, we are not, no, too much aware of them. We are each other's best friend. She calls me Buddy, in memory of a boy who was formerly her best friend. The other Buddy died in the 1880s when she was still a child. She is still a child. I knew it before I got out of bed, she said, turning away from the window with excitement in her eyes. The courthouse bell sounded so cold and clear, and there were no birds singing. That all gone to warmer climate. Yes, indeed. Oh, Buddy, stop stuffing biscuits and fetch our buggy. Help me find my hat. We've 30 cakes to bake. It's always the same. A morning arrives in November, and my friend, as though officially inaugurating the Christmas time of year that exhilarates her imagination and fuels the blaze of her heart, announces, it's fruitcake weather. Fetch our buggy. Help me find my hat. The hat is found. A straw cartwheel corsaged with velvet roses, It once belonged to a more fashionable relative. Together, we gather our buggy, a dilapidated baby carriage, out to the garden and into a grove of pecan trees. The buggy is mine. That is, it was bought for me when I was born. It is made of wicker, rather unraveled, and the wheels wobble like a drunkard's legs. But it is a fake object. Springtimes we take it to the woods and fill it with flowers, herbs, wild ferns for our front porches. In the summer, we pile it with picnic paraphernalia and sugarcane fishing poles and roll it down to the edge of the creek. It has its winter uses too, as a truck for hauling firewood from the yard to the kitchen, and as a warm bed for Weenie, our tough little orange and white rat terrier, who has survived distemper and 2 rattlesnake bites. Queenie's trotting beside it right now. 3 hours later, we are back in the kitchen, pulling a heaping buggy load of windfall pecans. Our backs hurt from gathering them. How hard they were to find, the main crop having been shaken off the trees and sold by the orchard's owners, were not us. Hard to find amongst the concealing leaves, the frosted, deceiving grass. Crack! A cheery crunch, scraps of miniature thunder sound as the shells collapse and the golden mound of sweet, oily ivory meat mounts in the milk glass bowl. Queenie begs to taste, and now and again my friend sneaks her a mite, though insisting we deprive ourselves. We mustn't, buddy. If we start, we won't. And there's scarcely enough as there is for 30 cakes. The kitchen is growing dark. Dusk turns the window into a mirror. Our reflections mingle with the rising moon as we work by the fireside in the burn. At last, when the moon is quite high, we toss the final coal into the fire and with joined sighs watch it catch flame. The buggy is empty. The bowl is brim. We eat our supper, cold biscuits, bacon, blackberry jam, and discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow, the kind of work I like best begins. Bye. Cherries and citrus, ginger and vanilla, and canned Hawaiian pineapple, rinds and raisins and walnuts and whiskey and oh, so much flour and butter and so many eggs, spices, flavorings. Why, we'll need a pony to pull the buggy home. But before these purchases can be made, there is the question of neither of us has any. Except for skin flint psalms persons in the house occasionally provide. A dime is considered big money. Or what we earn ourselves from various activities, holding rummage sales, selling buckets of hand-picked blackberries, jars of homemade jam and apple jelly and preserves, rounding up flowers for funerals and weddings. Once we won 79th prize, $5 in a national football contest. Not that we know a full thing about football. It's just that we enter any contest we hear about. At the moment, our hopes are centered on the $50,000 grand prize being offered to name a new brand of coffee. We suggested AM, and after some hesitation, well, my friend thought perhaps it was sacrilegious, the slogan AM, Amen. To tell the truth, our only real profitable enterprise was the fun and freak museum we conducted in a backyard woodshed 2 summers ago. The fun was a stereotype with the slideshow views of Washington and New York lent to us by our relatives, a relative who had been to those places. She was furious when she discovered why we had borrowed it. The freak was a three-legged bitty chicken hatched by one of our own hens. Everybody hereabout wanted to see that bitty. We charged grown-ups a nickel, kids 2 cents. Good $20 before the museum had shut down due to the decease of the main attraction. But one way or another, we do it each year, accumulate the Christmas savings of fruitcake. These monies we keep hidden in an ancient bead purse under a loose board, under the floor, under a chamber pot, under my friend's bed. The purse is seldom removed from this safe location, except to make a deposit, or, as happens every Saturday, a withdrawal. For on Saturday, I am allowed 10 cents to go to the picture show. My friend has never been to a picture show, nor does she ever intend to go. I'd rather hear you tell the story, buddy. That way I can imagine it more. Besides, a person my age shouldn't squander their eyes. When the Lord comes, let me see him clear. In addition to never having seen a movie, she has never eaten in a restaurant, traveled more than 5 miles from home, received or sent a telegram, read anything except funny papers and the Bible, worn cosmetics, cursed, wished someone harm, told a lie on purpose, let a hungry dog go hungry. Here are a few things she has done. Killed with a hook the biggest rattlesnake ever seen in this county, 16 rattles. Dip snuff secretly. Tame hummingbirds, just trying, till they balanced on her finger. Tell ghost stories. We both believe in ghosts. So tingling they will chill you in July. Talk to herself. Take walks in the rain. Grow the prettiest japonicas in town. Know the recipes for every sort of old-time Indian cure, including a magical workroom. Now, with supper finished, we retire to the room in a faraway part of the house where my friend sleeps in a scrap quilt covered iron bed painted rose pink, her favorite color. Silently wallowing in the pleasures of conspiracy, we take the bead purse from its secret place and spill its contents on the scrap quilt. Dollar bills tightly rolled and green as Maybugs. Somber 50-cent pieces, heavy enough to weight a dead man's eyes. Lovely dimes. The liveliest coin, the one that really jingles. Nickels and quarters worn smooth by White Creek petals. But mostly a hateful heap of bitter odored pennies. Last summer, others in the house contracted to pay us a penny for every 25 flies we killed. Oh, the carnage of August. That the flies that flew to heaven. Yet it was not working, which we took any pride. And as we sat counting the pennies, it is as though we were back tabulating dead flies. Neither of us had a head for figures. We count slowly, we lose track, we start over. According to her calculations, we have $12.73. According to mine, exactly $13. Oh, I do hope you're wrong, buddy. We can't mess around with 13. The cakes will fall or put somebody in the cemetery. Why, I wouldn't dream of getting out of bed on the 13th. This is true. She always spends the 13th in bed. So, to be on the safe side, we subtract a penny and toss it out. Of the ingredients that go into our fruitcakes, whiskey is the most expensive, as well as the hardest to obtain. State law forbids its sale, but everybody knows you can buy a bottle from Mr. Ha Ha Jones. And the next day, having completed our more prosaic shopping, we set out for Mr. Ha Ha's business address, which is a sinful, to quote public opinion, fish fry and dancing cafe down by the river. We've been there before and on the same errand. But in previous years, our dealings has been with Ha Ha's wife, an iodine dark Indian woman with brassy peroxided hair and a dead tired disposition. Actually, we've never laid eyes on her husband, though we've heard that he's an Indian too. A giant with razor scars across his cheeks. They call him Ha Ha because he's so gloomy, a man who never laughs. As we approach this cafe, a large log cabin festooned inside and out with chains of garish, gay, naked light bulbs, and standing by the river's muddy edge under the shade of river trees, where moss drifts through the branches like gray mist. Our steps linger. Even Queenie stops prancing and sticks close by. People have been murdered at Ha Ha's cafe, cut to pieces, hit on the head. There's a case coming up in court next month. Naturally, these goings on happen at night when the colored lights cast crazy patterns and the Victrola wails. In the daytime, Ha Ha's is shabby and deserted. I knock at the door. Queenie barks. My friend calls, Miss Ha Ha, ma'am? Anyone to home? Footsteps. The door opens. Our hearts overturn. It's Mr. Ha Ha Jones himself. And he is a giant. And he does have scars. And he doesn't smile. No, he fires at us through Satan tilted eyes and demands to know what you want with Ha Ha. Moment, we're too paralyzed to tell. Presently, my friend half finds her voice, a whispery voice at best. If you please, Mr. Ha Ha, we'd like a quart of your finest whiskey. His eyes tilt more. Would you believe it? Ha Ha smiling, laughing too. Which one of you is a drinking man? It's for making fruitcakes, Mr. Ha Ha, for cooking. This sobers him. He frowns. That's no way to waste good whiskey. Nevertheless, he retreats into the shadowed cafe and seconds later appears carrying a bottle of daisy-colored, unlabeled liquor. He demonstrates its sparkling sunlight and says, $2. We pay him with nickels and dimes and pennies. Suddenly, jingling the coins in his hand like a fistful of dice, his face softens. Tell you what, he proposes, pouring the money back into our big purse. Just send me one of them fruitcakes instead. Well, friends remarks on our way home. There's a lovely man. We'll put an extra cup of raisins in his fruit cup. The black stove stoked with coal and firewood glows like a lighted pumpkin. Egg beaters swirl. Spoons spin round in bowls of butter and sugar. Vanilla sweets the air. Ginger spices it. Melting, nose-tingling odors saturate the kitchen. Suffuse the house. Drift out to the world on puffs of chimney smoke. In 4 days, our work is done. 31 cakes, dampened with whiskey, bask on windowsills and shelves. Who are they for? Friends. Not necessarily neighbor friends. Indeed, the largest share are intended for persons we've met maybe once, maybe not at all. People who have struck our fancy, like President Roosevelt, like the Reverend and Mrs. J.C. Lucy, Baptist missionaries to Borneo, who lectured here last winter, or the little knife grinder who comes through town twice a year, or Abner Packer, the driver of the 6 o'clock bus from Mobile, who exchanged waves with us every day as he passes in a dust cloud swoop, or the young Westons of California, a couple whose car one afternoon broke down outside the house, and who spent a pleasant hour chatting with us on the porch. Young Mr. Weston snapped our picture, the only one we've ever had. Is it because my friend is shy with everyone except strangers that these strangers and merest acquaintances seem to be our truest friends? I think it is. Also, the scrapbooks we keep of thank yous on White House stationery, time to time communications from California and Borneo, or the knife grinders, penny postcards, make us feel connected to events, the eventful worlds beyond the kitchen, with its view of a sky that stops. Now a new December big branch breaks against the window. The kitchen is empty. The cakes are gone. Yesterday, we carted the last of them to the post office, where the cost of stamps turned our purses inside out. We are broke. That rather depresses me, but my friend insists on celebrating with 2 inches of whiskey left in Mr. Ha-Ha's bottle. Queenie has a spoonful in a bowl of coffee. She likes her coffee chicory flavored and strong. The rest we divide between a pair of jelly glasses. We're both quite awed at the prospect of drinking straight whiskey. The taste of it brings screwed up expressions and sour shudders. But by and by, we begin to sing, the two of us singing different songs simultaneously. I don't know the words to mine, just come on along to the Darktown Strutters Ball. Dance. That's what I mean to be, a tap dancer in the movies. My dancing shadow frolicking on the walls, our voices rock the china ware. We giggle as if unseen hands were tickling us. And Queenie rolls on her back, her paws plowing the air. Something like a grin stretches her black lips. Inside myself, I feel warm and sparky as those crumbling logs, carefree as the wind in the chimney. My friend waltzes around the stove, the hem of her poor calico skirt pinched between her fingers as though it were a party dress. Show me where you go, she sings, her tennis shoes squeaking on the floor. Show me Let me go. Enter two relatives. Very angry. Working with eyes that scold and tongues that scold. Listen to what they have to say. The words tumbling together like rhythmic tune. A child of 7, whiskey on his breath? Are you out of your mind? Being a child of 7 must be loony. Road to ruin. Remember cousin Kate, Uncle Charlie's brother-in-law. Shame, scandal, humiliation. Kneel, pray, beg the Lord. Weenie sneaks under the stove. Man gazes at her shoes. Chin quivers. She lifts her skirt and blows her nose and runs to her room. Long after the town has gone to sleep and the house is silent except for the chiming of clocks and the sputtering of fading fires, she is weeping into a pillow already as wet as a widow's hand. Don't cry, I say, sitting at the bottom of her bed and shivering despite my flannel nightgown that smells of last winter's cough syrup. Don't cry, I beg, tickling her toes and tickling her feet. Too old for that. Well, it's because, she hiccups, I am too old and funny. Not funny, more fun. More fun than anybody. Listen, if you don't stop crying, you'll be so tired tomorrow you can't go cut a tree. Straightens up. Queenie jumps on the bed where Queenie is not allowed and licks her cheek. I know where you'll find real pretty trees, but and holly too, with berries big as your eyes. It's way off in the woods, further than we have ever been. Mother used to bring those Christmas trees from there. That's 50 years ago. Well, now, I can't wait for the morning. Morning. Frozen rime lusters the grapes. The sun round is an orange, and orange as hot weather moon balances on the rocks. Brandishes the silvery winter woods. Wild turkey cock, a renegade hog grunts in the undergrowth. Soon, by the edge of knee-deep, rapid running water, we have to abandon the buggy. Queenie wades the stream first, paddles across, barking complaints at the swiftness of the current and the pneumonia-making coldness of it. We follow, holding our shoes and equipment, a hatchet and burlap bags above our heads. A mile more of chastising thorns, burrs, briars that catch at our clothes, of rusty pine needles brilliant with gaudy fungus and molten sweat feathers. Here and there a flash, a flutter, an ecstasy of shrilling remind us that not all the birds are the same. Always the path upwind with lemony sun pools and pitch vine. Another creek to cross. A disturbed armada of speckled trout cross the water around us. And frogs the size of plates practice belly flops. Beaver workmen are building the dam. On the farther shore, Queenie shakes herself and trembles. My friend shivers too, not with cold, but with enthusiasm. One of her hat's ragged roses sheds a petal, as she lifts her head and inhales the fine, heavy air. We're almost there. Can you smell it, buddy? She says, as though we were approaching an ocean. And indeed, it is a kind of ocean. Scented acres of holiday trees, prickly leaf, red berries shiny as Chinese bells, black crows swooping upon them, screaming. Having stuffed our burlap sacks with enough greenery and crimson to garland a dozen windows, we set about choosing a tree. It should be, muses my friend, twice as tall as a boy, so a boy can't steal the star. The one we pick is twice as tall as me. A brave, handsome brute that survives 30 hatchet strokes before it kneels with a cracking, rending cry. Lugging it like a keel, we commence the long trek out. Every few yards, we abandon the struggle, sit down and pant. But we have the strength of triumph huntsman. That and the tree's virile, icy perfume revives us, goes us home. Many compliments accompany our sunset return along the red clay road, but my friend is sly and non-committal when passers-by praise the treasure perched in our buggy. What a fine tree. Where did it come from? Oh, yonder way, he says vaguely. Once a car stops and the rich mill owner's lazy wife leans out and whines, "Give you 2 bits cash for that old tree." Ordinarily, my friend is afraid of saying no, but on this occasion, she promptly shakes her head. "We wouldn't take $1. The mill's owner's wife persists. $1 my foot, 50 cents. That's my last offer. Goodness, woman, you can get another one." In answer, my friend gently reflects. "I doubt it. There's never two of anything." Home, Queenie slumps by the fire and sleeps till tomorrow, snoring like a human. A trunk in the attic contains a shoebox of ermine tails off of an opera cape of a curious old lady that once rented a room in the house. There are coils of frazzled tinsel, gone gold with age, one silver star, a brief rope of dilapidated, undoubtedly dangerous candy-like light bulbs. Excellent decorations as far as they go, which isn't far enough. My friend wants our tree to blaze like a Baptist window, drooping with weighty snow of ornaments. But we can't afford the made in Japan splendors at the 5 and dime. So we do what we always have done. We sit for days at the kitchen table with scissors and crayons and stacks of colored paper. I make the sketches and my friend cuts them out. Lots of cats, fish too, because they're easy to draw. Some apples, some watermelons, a few winged angels devised from saved up sheets of Hershey bar tinfoil. We use safety pins to attach these creations to the tree. As a final touch, we sprinkle the branches with shredded cotton picked in August for this purpose. My friend, surveying the effect, clasped her hands together. "Now, honest, buddy, doesn't it look good enough to eat?" Queenie tries to eat one thing. After weaving and ribbering holly wreaths for all the front windows, our next project is the fashioning of family gifts. Tie-dyed scarves for the ladies. For the men, a home-brewed lemon and licorice and aspirin syrup to be taken at the first symptoms of a cold and after hunting. But when it comes time for making each other's gift, my friend and I separate to work secretly. I would like to buy her a pearl handled knife, a radio, a whole pound of chocolate covered cherries. We tasted some once, and she always swears I could live on them, buddy. Lord, yes, I could. And that's not taking his name in vain. Instead, I'm building her. She would like to give me a bicycle. She says so on several million occasions. If only I could, buddy. It's bad enough in life to do without something you want. But confound it, what gets my goat is not being able to give somebody something you want them to have. Only one of these days I will, buddy. I'll locate you a bike. Don't ask me how. Steal it, maybe. Instead, I'm fairly certain that she's building me a car. The same as last year and the year before. The year before that, we exchanged slingshots, all of which is fine for me. But we are champion kite flyers who study the wind like sailors. My friend, more accomplished than I, can get a kite aloft when there isn't enough breeze to carry clouds. Christmas Eve afternoon, we scrape together a nickel and go to the butcher's to buy Queenie's traditional gift, a good knowable beef bone. The bone, wrapped in bunny paper, is placed high in the tree near the silver star. Queenie knows it's there. She squats at the foot of the tree, staring up in a trance of greed. When bedtime arrives, she refuses to budge. Her excitement is equaled by our own. I kick the covers and turn my pillow as though it was a scorching summer night. Somewhere a rooster crows, falsely, for the sun is still on the other side of the world. Buddy, are you awake? It's my friend calling from her room, which is next to mine. And an instant later, she's sitting on my bed, holding a candle. Well, I can't sleep a hoot, she declares. My mind's jumping like a jackrabbit. Buddy, do you think Miss Roosevelt will serve our cake at dinner? We huddle in bed, and she squeezes my hand. I love you. Seems like your hand used to be so much smaller. I guess I hate to see you grow up. When you've grown up, will we still be friends? I say, always. But I feel so bad, buddy. I wanted so bad to give you a bite. I tried to sell my cameo Papa gave me. Buddy, she hesitates as though embarrassed. I made you another kite. Then I confess I made her one too, and we laugh. The candle burns too short to hold. Out it goes, exposing the starlight. The stars spinning at the window like visible caroling that slowly daybreak silences. Possibly we doze, but the beginnings of dawn splash us like cold water. We're up wide-eyed and wandering while we wait for the others to waken. Quite deliberately, my friend drops a kettle on the kitchen floor. I tap dance in front of closed doors. One of the household emerges, looking as though they'd like to kill us both. But it's Christmas and they can't. So, first, a gorgeous breakfast. Just everything you can imagine, from flapjacks and fried squirrel to hominy grits and honey and comb, which was everybody in a very good humor except my friend and I. Frankly, we're so impatient to get to the presents, we can't eat a mouthful. Well, I'm disappointed. Who wouldn't be? with socks, a Sunday school shirt, some handkerchiefs, a hand-me-down sweater, and a year's subscription to a religious magazine for children, The Little Shepherd. It makes me boil. It really does. My friend has a better haul. A sack of plums. That's her best present. She's proudest, however, of a white wool shawl knit by her married sister. But she says her favorite gift is the kite I built her. And it is beautiful, but not as beautiful as the one she made me, which is blue and scattered with gold and green good conduct stars. Moreover, my name is painted on it, but the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing, and nothing will do till we run to a pasture below the house where Queenie has scooted to bury her bone, and where winter ends, Queenie will be buried. There, plunging through the healthy waist-high grass, we unreel our tongues, feel them twitching at the string like skyfish as they swim into the wind. Satisfied, sun-warmed, we sprawl in the grass and peel plums and watch our kites go forward. Soon I forget the socks and hand-me-down sweater. I'm as happy as if we'd already won the $50,000 grand prize in that coffee naming contest. My, how foolish I am. And cries suddenly alert, like a woman remembering too late she's biscuits in the oven. You know what I've always thought? She asked in a tone of discovery, and not smiling at me, but at a point beyond me. I've always thought a body would have to be sick and die before they saw the Lord. And I imagine that's when he would come, we'd be like looking at Betty's window, prettiest colored glass with the sun pouring through, such a shine, you don't even know it's getting dark. And it's been a comfort to think that that shine takes away all the spooky feelings. But I'll wager it never happens. I wager at the very end, a body realizes the Lord has already shown himself. As for me, I could read the world with today in mind. This is our last Christmas together. Life separates us. Those who know best decide that I belong in a military school, and so follows a miserable succession of bugle-blowing prisons, grim, reveille-ridden summer camps. I have a new home too, but it doesn't count. Home is where my friend is, and there I never go. And there she remains, puttering around the kitchen, alone with Queenie, then alone. Buddy dear, she writes in her wild, hard-to-read script, yesterday Jim Macy's horse kicked Queenie bad. Be thankful she didn't feel much. I wrapped her in a fine linen sheet and rode her in the buggy down to Simpson's pasture, where she can be with all of her bones. For a few Novembers, she continues to bake her fruitcakes single-handed. Not as many, but some, and of course, she always sends me best and batch. Also, in every letter, she encloses a dime wadded in toilet paper. See a picture show and write me the story. Gradually, in her letters, she tends to confuse me with her other friend, the buddy who died in the 1880s. More and more 13ths are not the only days she stays. A morning arrives in November, a leafless, birdless, Coming a winter morning, when she cannot rouse herself to explain, "Oh my, it's fruitcake weather." And when that happens, I know. A message saying so merely confirms a piece of news, some secret thing already received, severing from me an irreplaceable, letting it loose like a kite on a broken string. That is why walking across the school campus on this particular December morning, I keep searching the sky as if I expect to see, rather like parts of lost parents hurrying. It's like jumping. Sorry. Oh. I guess I'm asking some, to give me a read. I'm sorry, I couldn't, I like to look at the audience when I'm reading, but unfortunately, I can't turn pages. It's so inconvenient. I should have gotten something. Well, I'm.
Well done.
I really do. That's important. I have my own little story about depression. When I was I grew up in Burlington, and across the street from me, there was a woman who had a child who was a retarded child, and her husband lived there, and her husband died, so when he was 20, and she never had this child, and so she didn't have anyone. And so, she belonged to the Episcopal Church, so they offered a place in church if she would come and teach what they call expression classes. So all the people in Burlington see their children,